My name's Samantha and I do believe this is episode 18. It may not be. I think it's episode 18 of the Khaos Kismet podcast. This is my little place on the internet where I talk about all the crafty things that I've been up to in the last couple of weeks. It's mostly a crochet and knitting centric podcast, but I do also do other crafts as well. I am coming to you from the West Midlands in England. Clearly not from here. I am Scottish. Lived here for 12 years. I live with dog. I live with my two youngest children. My oldest one has moved out, and my hellhound of a dog who has been lying there completely unconscious up until the point I press record. And this is the second time that I'm recording because the first time she started zooming, and when she zoomed, she just sent everything flying. If you've been here before, you will understand what life is with Lilith. Lil, get down. She's currently standing on my PC desk. What are you doing? Come here. Come see the people. Right, there you go. This is Lilith. She's my dog. She has personality. She's only a year old, so she's about a year and a half old now. So she's at that fun teenage stage where she's just in everything. However, this is not a dog podcast, and apparently the dog now has centre stage. Right, come on. No, you have to move across a bit. Dogs. Oh, sorry, she just knocked the camera. Right, Lil, don't knock the camera. Right, let's get on with showing you some stuff. It's been 2 weeks since I've been here. You have to excuse the state of me as well. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's crazy. It's September. We're like just over a week into September now. And we've had this heat wave come in. And it's coming from the Sahara Desert. And what that means is it's very hot, it's very humid, and everything is covered in sand. Like, it's been in the news and everything. You look outside and all the cars, you wake up in the morning, all the cars are covered in sand. It's crazy. It's so bizarre. But it is so hot. It's like 28, 29 degrees, which I know some people are going to be going, that's nothing. I know, like, my South African friend, I was complaining to him about the heat, and he's like, Lil, what you doing? But then it gets to winter time and it gets to anything in single digits, and he's wearing like 4 jumpers, so really, Lil? No. She's carrying a tin of paint. It's only a little tin of paint, but she has a tin of paint. Lilith, come here. Don't eat paint. Anyway, so onto the actual crochet stuff. I have got a bit of crochet, a bit of knitting, I've got a bit of cross stitch, I've got a bit of embroidery, and I think that's it today. I need to go and take this paint off her because she's gone back to it. I'll be back in a second. Okay, it's like a little tin of paint that size and it's wrapped in plastic, and she likes to chew on plastic because she's weird. So I've taken it off and put her away. She's now in her crate. So no doubt she's going to start being really annoying again in a minute. Where was I? Right. Actual crafty stuff. Now that we're 4 minutes in, I have some finished objects. My cardigan from last time, I took it apart again. And this is a cardigan that I've freehanded. The yarn I got is from Temu. It's called, I don't have the wrapper for it anymore, it's called Fairyland or something. And it's nice. It feels quite heavy, it's got a bit of weight to it. Probably because it's massive. It fits me now. It fits me, but it's loose on me. I'm not putting it on because I will probably melt. But it's just a basic double crochet cardigan, and it's quite nice, quite sort of loose fitting. So when it does get colder, I'll be able to, when it gets a little bit cooler, I'll be able to chuck it on over dresses and things. But when it gets actually cold, I will be able to put it on like over a jumper and things like that as well. So that is my first finished object. If you haven't seen the cardigan before, I have it in previous episodes. I'd originally made it so the back was like this wide. I don't know what I was thinking. So I've had to take it apart and redo it. And now it fits me and I'm quite happy with it. And see, now the dog's whining. Lil, be quiet. She's an actual menace to society. I'm considering trying to like leave her down here and film upstairs. I might do that next time. If the dog bothers you, let me know and I'll start trying to film upstairs and leave her down here. I know some people like her and like the chaos that she brings to the world. So I don't mind too much either way. Right, finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is this. Now, I showed this as a whip last time. Now, you may notice I had said I have 2 balls of this yarn. It's a mystery yarn that I got from Good Vibes mystery bag thing. And on the outside, these balls look exactly the same. Until you start crocheting with them. Let's get a bit closer. Until you start crocheting with them, then you can see that this one has got sort of brown tones to it. Whereas this one has got some very dark grey tones to it. And you can kind of see it on the camera. Thankfully, the way that this shawl works up, it actually works up okay. So, and when you have it wrapped around like that, you're not really going to notice it. But yeah, this is it, finished. Ooh. I might make another one of these. It's from this book, The Modern Crochet Shawls and Wraps by Laura Strutt. I've had this book for quite a while. I've made a few of the shawls from it. And this is what it looks like in the book. And the one in the book I think is done with cotton. Oh no, it's not, it's done with merino. But the yarn used is very different. But it's the sort of thing, like, it's the same pattern all the way down and they've just like added different colours of stripes into it. And I did consider doing that, but I thought because it's already got 2 different colour stripes, it's big enough to wear as like with a V at the front. I thought I'll just leave it. But I might make another one and maybe a different weight yarn. Or maybe use a different hook. Because these bits in here are all single crochets. So I might make it on a bigger hook. I think I did actually size the hook up. I'm sure I did this with a 5. I don't know, I would need to check my last video. But I'm sure I sized up on the hook to try and get a bit more drape in this. So, there we go. That is finished object number 2. What else do we have? Finished object number 3 is this little cutie. His little tail. I made this with some of the leftovers from this. This is called the Ghost Kitty. I've got the little quiet eyes. Focus? No. And I really like it with the pastels and the black. This is going to be going in the shop. But I really like it with the pastels and the black. I think it's nice. The original one is called Gregory the Ghost Kitty by Carrie Mendoza. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. There we go. I didn't do the little pumpkin. See, look. He comes with a little pumpkin. And the pumpkin's in the pattern as well. I just didn't do it. That's the... You can see my tail reflecting in it, I'm sorry. Ah! Right, we're doing all sorts of crazy now. It's Carrie Mendoza from Floofs and Things. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll link it down below. So yeah, there we go. And that's a DK weight yarn that I've used, and this is just like a bit of scrap black that I had, and I used my 2.5mm hook because that's my favourite hook for using with DK or Aran. So then we have that one, and then we have another little amigurumi, which this one's for me and I'm keeping. He's so cute. Look, I gave him a little belly button. That's not in the pattern. I just decided he desperately needed a little belly button. Right, let's see if I could find... He's called Wretch the Creature. This one is by More Dreams Less Life. It's $3.50 for the pattern, which is £2.93, and this is what he's supposed to look like. I think I got this as part of a big bundle of patterns though at some point. You know how sometimes designers do like a big, you buy like 5 million patterns for £1 and stuff like that. I think I got this during that. It was a quite nice little pattern. The kitty one I just did exactly 2 patterns. I didn't make any changes in that. This one I changed the wings slightly so that I would have less ends to sew in because I don't like sewing in ends. And I gave him his little belly button, and he's got the kawaii eyes as well. But this one I have decided that I am keeping, and I have my little shelf of small things, and this is where he lives. I have one more finished object. That's all the... Oh no, I have 2 more finished objects. I haven't sewn the ends in on this, but I've got another little mesh top that I've made. This is just like a random ball of some... It's quite thick yarn, but see, it's that... How do you explain it? It's like lots and lots of little threads, and it's very, very loosely plied. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Do you know the type of yarn that I mean? And I had just like a random ball of it in pink. I've got one in black as well. And I thought I'll just use it to make this because I wasn't sure on the yardage on it. And I quite fancied having a pink mesh top to put over my dresses. So there we go. I don't know how I'm going to sew the ends in on this. I might just leave the ends out and have it as a look. Give me a look. Be fine. And that's just free-handed. I think I used a 10mm hook for that one. I've got no idea what the yarn is. It has no ball band. It's just a random skein of pink that I had. It looks kind of chunky weight. It's quite thick. It's either like a really thick worsted or kind of going into a chunky. And all you do with that is you just chain from here to here without stretching it too much. And then you just do the mesh stitch, and then it's when it's the length that you want it, or when you've used up like half or just under half, you sort of chain across for your neck space. You do a couple of mesh stitches, chain across for your neck space, and then you just mesh down the back. And then if you want sleeves in it, you just attach for a little bit the sleeves and just do more mesh stitches for the sleeves. It's a very like loosey-goosey, make it up as you go along type fitting thing. Yeah, and it's just like an easy way to use up a skein of yarn, I suppose. And they're really good because it's mesh, and especially because I've used a big hook on this and it's like big holes. It's good for putting on over my dress when I don't particularly want like everything on show, or I don't want to be wearing just black. I want a little bit of colour. So yeah. Let's see what else we have. Oh, we do have another crochet finish as well. I've been wanting to make this one for ages, and you're not going to be able to see any of it because it's black. you can maybe kind of see the texture. This is a hat called Wilbur. I'll show you it on Ravelry because on Ravelry they didn't use black yarn, so you can actually see the hat. Let's have a look. Ooh, there we go. So they have very sensibly used a yarn that you can see the stitches on. But it's made from Drops Air, which is, it's an alpaca, a wool blend, I think. So I've not sewed my ends in, so you can have a look at the actual. See, that's the yarn, and it's like blown. It's not plied really, and it's just like really light and fluffy. And I bought loads of this stuff ages ago when I first started getting yarn that wasn't acrylic, and I got it to make a jumper with. So I had loads of it because, you know, I need quite a lot to make a jumper because I'm kind of big that way, but I'm also kind of tall. So I've got a long body and I've got long arms. I'm a bit like a monkey. And so I had loads and loads and loads of balls of this, and I used one of them to make like a cape shawl thing, and I still had a couple of balls left, and I thought, do you know what, I'm gonna make a hat. And I'd seen this one quite a while ago. It's by Crochet with Carrie, and it's a free pattern. Looks like they have their own website, so you can get the pattern on there. I'll link everything down below. And I'm gonna put, I've got this pom-pom, I'm gonna put a little pink pom-pom on it. And I just did it exactly to pattern, no changes. It's got a really long brim on it, and I think I used about a ball and a half. You could probably get away with using just one ball if you didn't want to have the folded up brim, but I decided I would have a folded up brim because I don't have many hats that have a folded up brim on them. So I now have a massive cardigan, a shawl, and an alpaca hat to wear in this heat wave. Go me! Woo. Right, I think one more finished subject, and I actually just did this last night. This is a Celtic knot. It's an embroidery. I've just used a scrap of fabric and some, it was just like a scrap of thread that I had. It wasn't a full skein. It didn't have anything, didn't have any, what's the word? The little paper things that tell you what you're using. It didn't have any of that on it, so it was just that, and I've just used a split stitch. And the awesome thing about Celtic knots is that's pretty much just one line, and it just goes round and makes a really cool pattern. And yesterday I've not been having like the best time over the last couple of days mentally, and I thought this will be a nice little mindful project to do it in one colour. You don't need to keep changing things because it's embroidery. Did I say use a split stitch for it? And because it's embroidery, there's no counting. You draw your thing and then you stitch over it. It's super easy to do. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this yet. So it might end up in the shop. It might end up getting turned into something else. It might end up just being left like that. Well, obviously without all this. It might end up being like that, and I'll just put a backing on it. We shall see. We'll need to decide what I want to do. I've got so many cross-stitch and embroidery things that need to be fully finished, and I need to get around to them at some point and get them photographed. The problem with photographing things in this house, because, I mean, if you've been here before, you've heard me complain about this house. Like, the walls are green and yellow. Everything in here is like green and yellow. There's no real natural sunlight comes in, and it's a bit of a pain for taking pictures. I'm now realising this top probably wasn't the best thing to wear. I'm sorry. But it's so hot. It's quite late as well. It's like after 6 o'clock at night. It should have started to cool down a bit, and it just doesn't. It's one thing I miss desperately from living next to the sea, because I grew up in a town next to the sea in Scotland, and there was always a breeze. Always. And then I'm here in the middle of England, and there's no air at all. Like, you can open your windows and nothing comes through at all. And I don't like it. What was I talking about? Sorry, I'm going off on tangents here. I can't remember what I was talking about. Anyway, onwards. Let's see what else we have. Right, so that's all my finishes. I have got three whips. I have more finishes than whips, which is nice. First whip is from the Pokemon book. I have had so much value from this book, it's just not even funny. The amount of Pokemon that I have made. I am currently making Psyduck. I have made Psyduck before in his original colours. And this time, apparently, according to my children, there is a thing called a shiny Psyduck, which I've never seen, but I haven't really played. They have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but I haven't really played them. And this is from Scarlet, I do believe. So he's a little blue Psyduck who turns into a little blue Golduck. But this one, I'm making a blue Psyduck because it's for a gift. And the child who decided that if it's going to be for a gift, then you have to make a shiny Psyduck because it's a special one for a special gift. Now, fair enough, you have a point. So we shall make the shiny Psyduck. It shouldn't take me that long to finish it. That's his head, his little body. He's only going to be like that sort of size, which I know bears absolutely no resemblance to anything. The yarn that I'm using is Drops Love You. It's discontinued. You can't get it anymore, which I'm very, very sad about. But I do still have quite a lot of this in about 4 or 5 different colours. So I'm just gradually working through it. It's a 4-ply, which is like fingering weight. And I'm using a 2mm hook. That's probably not going to focus. It's not going to focus. 2mm hook, 4-ply fingering weight, cotton, shiny Psyduck. From the book that just keeps on giving. This is the first one. I do have the second book as well. I've not made anything out of the second book yet. But this one's by Sabrina Summers. And you can get this in lots of different places. I got mine on Amazon because I just give Amazon all my money all the time. Alright. What else? The sock. The sock is almost finished. I've got about another few rows to do in it. And there we go. Got the colour transitions. It's just basic vanilla sock that I have been working on since the beginning of time. Fishlets Kiss Heel. It's a, I think it's called like a Turkish cast on or something that I do for the toe. I do toe up socks, obviously, because I'm still knitting. I really didn't have to say that, did I? Obviously it's a toe up sock because I'm still knitting the top of it. I like to knit all my socks toe up though, because that way you can just keep going as long as you fancy. But for these ones, I want the leg to be the same length as the foot, and then I'll put a ribbon on it. I'm using my 2.5mm Knit Pro Novas. And I'm using a very, very dishevelled Nordley. If you haven't seen me talk about this before, it comes in beautiful colours. It's a roving style. I've got lots and lots and lots of different colours of this, but this is the first time I've actually used it. It's not too bad for being, you can see it there, it's fairly even with the ply. It's barely plied because it's woven. It's got like a slight twist to it. But the colours are gorgeous. Like, it's 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. So I should be able to put these in the machine. My brain is going, it's roving, you can't put it in the machine. So I'm going to see. I'm going to finish this one sock, then I'm going to put the one sock in the machine and see what happens before I knit the other one. I know I should have just done a swatch. I might do that actually. I might, because, you know, that's not going to be 50 grams of yarn, is it? So I might knit a swatch and chuck the swatch in the washing machine instead. That's probably a better idea rather than wasting my entire sock. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I swear this heat is getting to my brain. My brain is just not functioning properly anymore. I have one more thing that I'm doing, and that is cross stitch. It doesn't look like very much, but that's a lot of stitches on there. This is a printed cross stitch that I got ages ago. I think I got this on Amazon as well. And it is Harlequin. It comes as a kit, and if you've never seen these before, you get like a key down the side, and then it's got all these different things. It's essentially the most brainless cross stitch that you can do. You just, like, this colour is, you just do this for all the yellow, and then you just pick the next one, and then you just, it's paint by numbers with cross stitch. You don't have to count, you don't have to think about anything. It's great. And then when you're done, I've never actually completed one of these printed cross stitch things before, but in theory, once it's done, so it's a decent size, you put it in water and all this ink comes off. So anything that's shown, because this is like bright yellow and it doesn't really show up under the stitches, but it does a little. And all this stuff like around the edges and all that, all this writing up here, apparently it all comes off, but we shall see. So yeah, that's me. That is everything. You'll be glad to know. I'm sorry, I know I've been a little bit hyper and a little bit rushed, and I've been a little bit scatterbrained. I think it's the heat. Did you know it was a blue supermoon this week? I'm blaming that for literally everything at the minute, because it's just driving the entire world crazy. Between the blue supermoon and the Sahara Desert sand covering everything, it's just, it's a lot. Right, I'm going to go. I'm actually under half an hour this time. I'm going to go because otherwise I'll just keep rambling and I'll just keep waffling. And thank you for staying, even though I'm a little bit hyper today. And I'll be back. I'm still trying to decide whether like weekly or fortnightly is a better thing. So I'll either be back next week or I'll be back in 2 weeks. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how much stuff I get done this week. And I'm trying to gauge whether a weekly thing or a fortnightly thing is better for the amount of stuff that I can actually get done. So I'll be back either next week. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. I know I had said before that I was going to do a Spooky September thing. I decided not to do the Spooky September thing because at the beginning, I missed the beginning of September. I completely did not realise it was start of September. The kids go back to school the first week, so the first few days, like the last few days of August and the first few days of September are just a complete whirlwind of chaos, because you think that everything's ready and then you realise that nothing is ready. And the kids are like, one of them's going to high school this year, the other one, it's going to be his first year in the school without his big brother there. So we've got a lot of like emotions going on, and it's just been chaos. So I completely missed the beginning of September, and I thought, you know what, between that and everything else that's going on at the minute. There's nothing bad going on, it's just general life stuff. I am super busy all the time. I've not even been able to play the computer, and usually I play quite a lot of World of Warcraft. I've not even really been able to play on there. I've not been able to do anything really because I've just been absolutely stacked with just, I don't even know where my time's going to. And it's just been one of those like black hole kind of time periods where I'm constantly doing stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. It is part of a bigger black hole called adulthood, where I have consistently been constantly doing stuff with no idea what I'm doing. But that's a very different type of podcast. I'm gonna go, because I said I was gonna go about 3 minutes ago and I've just waffled on. So I'll be back either next week or in 2 weeks. We shall see. We'll see how much I get done this week. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better and I'm not going to be sitting here absolutely dying of heat. So enjoy your week or enjoy your fortnight, and I'll see you then. Bye.